Hello, and welcome to the online premiere of Galway Moves, a series of 6 new dance films commissioned by Galway 2020 European Capital of Culture and produced by Galway Dance Project in collaboration with Dansnest. My name is Jill Murray, and I'm the General Manager of Galway Dance Project. I'm delighted to welcome you all here this evening. I'm going to be joined shortly by Marilyn Gahan-Redden, Programme Manager with Galway 2020 European Capital of Culture, and I'm going to hand over to her shortly to officially launch the films. We're going to be facilitating a panel discussion and a Q&A after the screening with the dance artists and the choreographers involved. So please do leave any comments or questions in the chat box and we will get back to them. I just wanted to give a little bit of context and background to the project without going too in depth and without giving away too much in advance, because I do think that the work will speak for itself. But I just think it's important to give a little bit of background on the project. It has been 4 years in the making. I actually just realised this the other day that it's been about 4 years since we first got in touch with Dansnest. So it's quite a long time that we've been working on this project. And Galway Moves was originally due to be presented in May 2020. Like I said, we've been working with Dansnest, who are an amazing dance company based in Breda in Holland. Their work is very much rooted in site-specific practice, and it's just been an amazing collaboration to work with them over the last few years. So in May 2020, we were supposed to be running a series of site-specific dance performances. All of them had a very strong participatory element. We had commissioned 5 dance artists who were based, living and practicing in Galway. They are Kristen Fontanella, Patricia Glynn, Mia Bradley Evans, Genevieve Ryan and Marta Almeida. And we'd also been working with the brilliant Sammy Hermans, who is a frequent collaborator with Dansnest, living in the Netherlands, and she's here as well this evening. So I suppose, obviously, May 2020 didn't go ahead, and we had a brilliant week in the Mick Lally Theatre in February of 2020. But obviously, we realised very quickly that what we had planned for May of last year wasn't going to happen. I suppose I don't want to go too in depth into everything that's gone on between March of last year and tonight, because we all know what's happened in the last year. And I suppose just to say that one thing I think is really important to acknowledge is the fact that all of the original artists who were with the project from the beginning are still here at this point. So I think that's really something that we're all really, really proud of. So Nana and Neil of Dansnest revised this project, I don't even know how many times at this point, but I suppose we really kept going back to the basic idea, in that with this project we wanted to build capacity among the professional dance community in Galway. We really wanted to give the artists who we were working with a space to create and collaborate together. So we really just kept returning to that over and over again. We realised as well towards the end of 2020 that we were going to have a very significant film or digital element to this project. So we were very lucky to get the amazing Laura Sheeran on board, who's a film artist and editor. So she filmed 3 of the pieces in Ireland. There were 2 pieces that were filmed outside of Ireland, one in Portugal and one in Holland. So she couldn't film those ones, but she was just brilliant. I don't want to go too much into the mechanics of the films because we will talk a lot more about that after the screening. But just to say that all the films were shot on one day. One was shot in about 3 hours, so see if you can spot which one that was. And I'm going to turn over to Marilyn now in a second. There are a couple of lines from Nana and Neil and Dansnest that they've asked me to say by way of introduction. So this is from Dansnest. They said, "This exercise in an online creation process became rapidly the ultimate introduction to a new way of working. Creators sharing their lives during COVID in lockdown across borders, a reflection of a time when you are more than ever confronted with yourself. We are seeing new rituals in the search for balance and creativity." So on that note, I'll stop talking and I'll hand over to you, Marilyn, to introduce the films.
Thanks, Jill. Galway 2020 is one of the few cultural projects and programmes of scale in the world to continue during the pandemic. We're really proud of this, but it is ultimately down to our partners and artists. And like Jill said, so many of the original artists have stayed true to their themes, their aims, their objectives, and their collaborations. And I think from these collaborations, lifetime friendships have been born. Galway Moves is a new dance commission, a project initially commissioned by Galway 2020 and produced by Dansnest and Galway Dance Project. Would like to acknowledge the dancers who have done the most remarkable work on this. Genevieve Ryan, Kristen Fontanella, Patricia Glynn, Marta Almeida, Mia Bradley Evans and Sammy Hermans. working with video artist Laura Sheeran. And of course, I have to acknowledge the remarkable, brilliant manager, producer, curator, director that is Jill Murray, without whom none of this would have been possible. Her dedication and commitment to dance in Galway and to the arts is really, really remarkable. And she's been somebody that we've thoroughly enjoyed working with on this and many other projects across the programme. Working online removes borders. It allows us to explore new ways of working, new ways of collaborating, new ways of co-creation, and takes us to places that we didn't really think we wanted to go to in the first place, while introducing new art forms to new audiences. We really hope that you enjoy Galway Moves as much as we do, and delighted to be here tonight for the premiere. Go Mahagi.
Well done, everyone.
Thank you, Jill. Ashley, don't you try?
Well done.
Yay.
Okay, I'm just going to introduce our amazing dancers. Genevieve Ryan, Mia Bradley Evans, Patricia Glenn, Sammy Hermans, Kristen Fontanella. And also shout out to Marta Almeida, who couldn't be here this evening, but she's here in spirit. Now for this part, I think I might hand over to you, Marilyn. We're going to have a bit of a discussion, I think, with, sorry, this is Nana and Neil of Dansnest. I forgot maybe one of the most important parts of this whole project. Really proud about you.
Thank you, Jill. Good to be here.
And thanks so much. Thanks so much for sticking with the project for so long. So yeah, sorry, I'm going to hand over to you, Marilyn, and we'll have a bit of a chat about the films, and then we'll see if there's any questions and go back to the other dancers as well.
Great. Gosh, well done, guys. That was amazing. Sincere thanks to you, Nana and Neil, and this amazing partnership that is Dansnest Galway Dance Project. I suppose with Nana and Neil and with you, Jill, a couple of questions really around the collaboration and the co-creation. Can you describe the process of co-creation that you engaged in relation to the work?
I suppose I'll hand that over to you, Nana and Neil.
Yeah, it's okay. Jill introduced us to the Galway dance community, the key figures, the dancers involved. And she also introduced us to Galway 2020 and you, Marilyn. And we tried to discover it in our first meeting. We were there for 4 days in 2018. And we were figuring out what was the need, why were we there, and what could we contribute. And also how can we bring our experience and ideas to Galway. And we talked a lot. We took 4 days, and it was really a long time to get to know each other. Yeah, to get acquainted. Yeah. And Jill played a very important role in the communication and in the production of the whole project. And yeah, you did really amazing job, Jill, because we were there for such a long time, talking to each other and wanted to do this incredibly big project. Unfortunately, after the outbreak of COVID, we couldn't go on with that. But
you always stayed. I'm talking to Jill right now, but you always stayed very enthusiastic and motivating, not only us but also all of the dancers. And I think that's the reason why everybody stick to this project. So
well, I don't think I can take all the credit now. In fairness, I could. I'm not going to, take all the credit for that. No, but I mean, I think it was apparent really early on as well that the collaboration was going to work really well between Galway Dance Project and Dansnest. From the kind of first conversation, and I have to mention Dominique here, who was the producer with Dansnest, I think back in 2017, 2018, when we first started having these conversations. And you know, from the first conversation I had with Dominique and from the first conversation I had with Nana and Neil, I think it just became clear that the collaboration was going to work. And I think that's the funny thing about collaborating. You kind of know nearly straight away if it's going to work or not. And I think we were just really, really lucky that it worked really well. And we've gotten to this point after nearly 4 years and a global pandemic. And here we are.
Do you think it would have worked as well had you not had that pre-relationship, that 3 years to build up? Because it's quite difficult to build a relationship online.
Oh yeah, totally. I don't think so. I think you need that amount of time, really. I don't know what you think.
Yeah.
No, you know.
Yeah. I think to understand what is happening in a city, and especially what is all happening in the dance community, it's good to be and to gather a longer time than just 1 month or 1 week. We noticed that in the meantime, a lot of projects took place. For example, in the School of Genevieve, or with Kristin or Trish, and we saw all the projects coming by, and we really saw their development as well, and we could also react to that in our work.
I think there's so much pre-production and collaboration that happens before the final events that sometimes maybe the public aren't as aware of just the sheer volume of work that's gone into getting us where we are now. And I suppose in the way that you've collaborated and co-created, you know, how can this kind of way of work, particularly in the pandemic, further sustain the dance community in Galway? Jill, I'm going to pose that one to you and then back to guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with the pandemic, I kind of feel like the genie's out of the bottle a bit with collaborating online. You know, I think if we'd have thought this time last year or this time a year and a half ago that we would be working so much this way, you know, we were always traveling to meet people and to work in that way. So I think in some ways the fact that, you know, Galway dance community is very small, but it's also very connected and very committed. And I think that the fact that now you have this kind of connection to other dance organizations, you know, internationally, nationally, across Europe, I think it's actually, as well, it's shown that we have the capacity to do it in Galway. Like, we have the level of talent. You know, we have the artists here who are committed to dance and who can, you know, produce work to this level. So the fact that now they can communicate, you know, without having to travel all of the time, actually, I think it's one thing that's come out of COVID that could be beneficial, not just for the dance community, I think kind of across the board, but I think, you know, in this context, obviously we're talking about dance. So yeah, I just think it could be hugely beneficial into the future, because you can, I know, like, obviously it is very hard to kind of maybe initiate those relationships online, but I've gotten better at working online as well, you know. So I do think that actually the future of those kind of collaborations for dance after, you know, after this project and other projects that have happened over the last year, you know, has really positive implications.
I think the model has been interesting around how you've collaborated and how you've co-created. It's certainly something that a lot of other European capitals of culture could learn from and benefit from in other countries. And maybe we see Galway Dance Project becoming the European dimension of other capitals of culture for the future. Can you talk a little bit about just the increasing the audience for dance? Because I think that this work being presented online and reaching new audiences is of enormous benefit in terms of increasing the audiences for dance. Anybody want to comment?
Who's answering?
Anyone want to take
sorry,
that one?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can. I mean, Marilyn, can you be more specific about the question, because I couldn't hear the question very good. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, just around increasing the audience for dance. I think, like, as Jill said, we have an incredible dance community in Galway. We have incredible dancers, but we, you know, sometimes we still need to grow the audience for dance. And by having this online reach, we're introducing this art form to more and more people. And I think it's a great way in terms of sustainability of practice, certainly for dancers in Galway and beyond. So just around that reach, really, how we reach more people.
Yeah, that was especially, we had a focus on that one because we wanted to encourage everybody and to inspire everybody to look at space very differently, so they could create in outdoor spaces where they reach, of course, a different audience. And to be in an outdoor space, it also asks you to have a focus on the environment and to see how you can involve people in, because of they are connected to that space somehow, and want to be part of what is happening. And also to, if you make the dance more visible, and outside you can do that in public space or on site-specific work, then it's you create also an accessibility for dance, and visibility, accessibility for the art of dance. And in February 2020, we were working on 5 large participatory work, and 5 concepts with all the dancers. We created 5 concepts, and these concepts were very much I'm so sorry, but yeah, definitely. But we were trying to see how we can involve so many audience, different audience, people with different backgrounds or different ages or different level of dance, and to be so inclusive and diverse, we thought with that project, or with that program, we could reach a lot of different people and a new audience in Galway as well.
I think we might invite Jill to moderate now and just invite the dancers in to have an open discussion.
Lovely. Thanks a million, Marilyn. Yeah, I mean, and I suppose just to comment on that, I suppose when we initially designed this project, and I'll open this up to the dancers now because it was all done very collaboratively, like the idea behind site-specific work was to increase the audience as well, was that like people would just happen upon these dance performances. Was that kind of, because I know, say, Genevieve, you've kind of been involved with this, you know, nearly from the beginning. And I think that was one of the reasons why we first approached Dansnest, wasn't it? Because we thought about having, if we had site-specific work, then people would kind of just come across these dance performances. Because as we all know, it's very, you know, it can be very difficult in Ireland, you know, to get audiences for dance. It's very challenging.
Definitely. I think the problem in Galway with dance is audiences and space. So I think those were the 2 key areas that we were trying to address, and that we were our goals for it, and they were still the goals in the final projects as well, in the sense of space and yeah, the first time I met Nana and Neil, he was just about to get here.
Yeah, but that was the thing. I mean, those conversations we had, and Kristen, I might ask you as well, because I know you were kind of involved, and Trish, when Nana and Neil were here in 2019, and you know, we were kind of
2018, April 2018, yes.
And we already met some. We already met some of you who are still involved right now. So,
and yeah, I was teaching classes for over 50s women mainly, and part of that initial plan for me was to that they would be part of the site specific, you know, that they would be on Shop Street, that they would have a set role, you know, in kind of almost a sense of reclaiming the streets, you know, as a group of women. And remember when we were when we were first together, our group here of choreographers and dancers, we were down along the river, and we were trying to connect with teams to do with the river and to do with Galway, and that was going to offer, a lot of chances for local people, to connect with it. But we have to do the same now that it's online. We have to figure out ways of involving other people as well, don't we? Other audiences.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I might ask, Mia, I might bring you in a little bit here, because I know that the process, I didn't want to go too much into the process earlier, but I suppose myself and Nana and Neil and Genevieve and Trish and Kristen all kind of, had worked on this project for a while before we brought yourself and Marta in. So I just was interested to hear how you found it kind of coming in a little bit later.
I mean, I didn't notice I was coming in later. I felt like when I was first introduced, and Martha, I suppose, that week where we worked together, I felt like a really strong connection. And because I suppose this is my first job coming from student to professional, it was really nice to kind of come into a group of people that knew what they were doing as well. And I found that really helpful, and the guidance and the help that I received was really helpful as well. So I felt really comfortable, and I thought that there would be like this big jump from being a student to becoming a professional, but it was so subtle and it was so easy and comfortable that it was great. I'm so happy that it happened that way. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's good to hear, and it was just brilliant to have you. It's just such a pity that Marshall couldn't join us, but like I said, I'm sure she's here in spirit. And Sammy, I just wanted to ask you as well, because you work with Nana and Neil a lot, and obviously you had to. How did you film your piece? Did Nana and Neil film it for you?
Yes, Nana and Neil came over to my house, so we filmed it here with Mia on the laptop squished in the corner in the corridor somewhere. I work with Dansnest regularly, but it was it was really a pleasure to go to Galway, and I regret it so much that we didn't manage to come back, because somehow we had such a short time when we were there that already meeting everyone and all the new impressions of the locations, it was so much that we didn't actually get to explore Galway too much. It would have been super nice to stay a bit longer or build up a stronger connection with the city and see what was going on. But it was very much fun to anyway stay in contact with everyone during this period and keep on, like, something was still boiling up there to create.
Yeah, and I suppose the thing about it is we have the other projects kind of ready to go, because, like I said, we were supposed to present that in May of 2020, so we have that model there. So who knows in the future that we might be able to still continue with it. I know we've kind of been on now for a while. I just wondered, did anybody want to add anything around that process of kind of creating online or creating kind of via Zoom and FaceTime? I know we're kind of used to it a little bit after last year, but what are the kind of, there's so many challenges, but does anybody want to kind of talk a little bit about that process of collaborating online and how that worked?
I guess, can I jump in? Even just saying, working with Nana and Neil and Sammy, having these visitors come into our city and showing us the beauty of it that we might have taken for granted a little bit. So even working in those public spaces for that short amount of time opened my eyes, at least, to what is possible in these public spaces, and the want to then share it to our local communities from where we each were living. And then taking that into the video and being very isolated in your home, even though we are in our homes alone, since this video is online, I think it's very accessible to a lot of people because they're in the same situations. So I feel like we're still spreading and sharing in the same capacity, just in a different form. So it still can work, and I think it was a seamless transition, even though they're on laptops sitting on strange places in your house. The direction and meaning and movement was clear, so it was a great process.
I think the challenge of the challenge of trying to explain to someone else, like your co-collaborator, you know, what you're looking for if you're the choreographer, and what trying to communicate it when you're not in the same space became a real new skill, you know, using the language that would be understood on Zoom, and trying to find several ways of communicating the feel of the dance.
Yeah, it was a total different experience being a maker in this kind of way of working, because normally we are really physical and we use our body to communicate together, but now verbally became much more important. So yeah, that was quite exciting to experience what is working, what wasn't working, and how to explain and to be as clear as possible.
Yeah, and working remotely is also very limited because you can't smell or sense the site, and you can't really feel what is going on there and what interests you, and you can't look through your own eyes. You look through the laptop and you look through the images you were shown by the dancer. So you had to choose which side was which room or which idea or which story was the start for your new project. And but somehow through this conversation we got a lot more background information of the personal side of the dancer. And normally it's not a you talk about things in the end of the process, but now it was already there in the first conversation about what's in their homes and what is interesting to look at and what is interesting to talk about, and that all has to do with why is it in the house and why did you put it there, and from who did you get it, and
it made you really comfortable with each other, and I think it helped us to choose the location inside the house where the choreography should take place, because you are in such a short time really connected to each other.
Yeah, and the real challenge was when you were creating in space, then we were on a laptop or a mobile phone. We were at Genevieve's home, and we were put in the hallway on a chair. So we were together like this on the screen and giving some instructions to Genevieve and Laura, who was filming. And they had such a good flow, Genevieve and Laura, and they just left us in the hallway and they started going on creating together. We don't have, we're still here. And we have ideas about it, but it's definitely an opportunity that a dancer can feel more freedom, and also the filmer has more freedom when the choreographer is not
as dominant and present as normal.
Yeah.
I think there's a lovely contrast in the fact that you create work. You're used to creating work in public space, and now you're sharing your private space with the public. It's a lovely contrast, actually, in that way.
Yeah,
it's true. I hadn't even thought of that, Marilyn. So thanks for pointing that out. That's very true. I'm conscious that we're kind of coming up to the end of our time here. I just wonder, has anybody got anything else to add before we kind of wrap up the conversation? Any comments before we finish up?
Yeah,
the work is stunning. Yeah, the work is stunning. Really, really stunning.
Well done,
Thank you so much, Marilyn. And I'd really like to add something, one thing. These restricted circumstances we worked in, they were not less ideal, but they were just different. And in my opinion, we did a very important exercise in the online creation that help us to think about the relevance of dance for future outbreaks and lockdowns. How can we continue to explore dance when we are not allowed to be together, but instead finding new ways to connect, share, and to create, and to overcome the distance? And I loved to do this process in this way. Thank you for that, everybody.
Thank you, Nan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone. It's really been an amazing project to work on, and it's really been a privilege to work with you all. It's quite emotional that we're coming to the end of it, really. But just to say a huge thank you to Marilyn and all of you in Galway 2020 European Capital of Culture for sticking with the project from day one. Really, it was really, we felt really supported, I think, throughout, even through all the craziness of last year. And I know that, Marilyn and Kate and everyone in Galway 2020 has just been working so hard, especially this month when everything seems to be happening all at once. So really a huge thank you for the opportunity, because I think it's going to have huge impact on the dance sector in Galway into the future, And thank you to all of you as well. It's been great to work with you all. I'm sure I'll work with you all again. I am working with some of you at the moment. And yeah, just a massive thank you as well to the board and founding members of Galway Dance Project, who I know a lot of them are watching, and they've all been a huge support as well throughout. And watch the films online, tell your friends.
Thank you so much for everything and the opportunity to work with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also,
Thank you.
Thanks to Alex as well, Alex Kearney, Atlantic Audio, who's managing this whole thing. I nearly forgot. Thanks to Alex as well. That's it. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.